So your children were born in the US and spent their early years in the US and then a number of years in South Korea and then brought back to the US a year ago with you, reunited with you. How has that been for them? How is that whole entire process? I mean, very different cultures, environments. I mean, if we're talking just at a community level, and then there's the whole like domestic level of households and parents. Yeah, how have they handled that?
Yeah, no, it's also been fascinating to observe. The good part was, I guess, two main things. One was their English was very good. They've been going to an English speaking preschool basically that taught English well. So we never at least had the big language gap, and I think that was really important. The other part was I had been able to see them on and off sometimes throughout the abduction, so they still knew who I was. They had a pretty good idea, even though it was a very distorted idea, I would say, because of what they had been hearing during the abduction. But it was still, they knew who Daddy was and that Daddy wanted to see them. So I think those two together definitely helped a lot with making the reunification possible. Even it was still not easy, and these cases, everybody knows if the longer it drags on, the bigger the trauma is going to be for actually getting back home, and it's just unavoidable. And that we factor that in to the decision making process. Is it really the right thing to do or not? But sometimes it is, and then you need to go through that and get them the help that they need in order to be able to heal from that. So I can kind of take you step by step how that looked. The most immediate was on the Korean side for a few days while we were there before we got home, and then they were reconnecting with me at that point. So I had a very large team, and again, super fortunate to have the resources to have a lot of people helping me at every step on that journey. But some of those people were critical. My lawyers, there's a child psychologist there, my interpreter who'd been with me with some of the visits with the kids, so they knew her already. We had a really good security team who was helping make sure everything was done safely, and they actually came all the way back to California with us on the plane to make, it was kind of door to door on that, which was really important. They were really good with kids. And so that already helped a lot, just having an overall sort of team and structure in place. So it wasn't just all of a sudden me and the kids like, hey, haven't seen you for a while. You think I'm this monster? Like, what's going to happen? No, it wasn't like that. So, but it was still difficult. I could see them like, okay, is this someone I can trust? I've heard all of these different things, what's true and what's not, and those kind of things on top of the, yes, very, very sudden change in the environment. So those days were not easy. And the government officials involved were there to smooth the path. And mostly on the US side, it was really good. We got a lot of great on the ground support from the embassy officials all the way through to Incheon airport, making sure we got on the plane safely and everything like that. The Korean side, there was some very unhelpful red tape right at the very end where we got stuck there for 3 extra days. And that was quite stressful for the kids, especially. But we used that to do a few little reunification activities and that kind of thing. They actually got to meet Dr. Song Mi Gong at that time, and she talked to them a bit, gave me some feedback based on what they told her and that kind of thing. So that we made the most of that, just as kind of getting reacquainted time. And then getting on the plane wasn't easy because, of course, for them, they're still very much like, oh, we're Korean. Where are we going? What's going on? Everything else. Getting home, the FBI met us at the airport and took us off the plane in San Francisco. So again, kind of door to door government officials. I'd already been working with the child abduction unit here in San Francisco, so they were there as well. They had like goodie bags for the kids with some clothes and toys and snacks and that kind of stuff. Kind of a nice welcome to America, and they were able to be reunited with their big sister. I have a grown daughter, and so she was there at the airport with the FBI waiting, basically. So it was nice to have that structure in place. So that was to basically get home. One of my lawyers came home as well, the Korean lawyers, to make sure that we got through everything safely there. So that was really nice to have them able to see, also my children able to see all the government officials there and helping, because then they know, okay, this is a proper thing that's going on, that people are taking care of me, basically. So that was good. And then from there, having family support was essential. And I had a few family members who rearranged trip plans in Europe and stuff just to be able to get back to be with the kids as fast as possible and sort of provide that warmth of you're part of a much bigger thing that you didn't even know about, that you've been cut off for so long. So at that point, things started to spark for the kids. They're like, I could see their eyes every time we explain about who someone is and show them pictures and that kind of thing. And that sort of awareness started to build up. Oh, yeah, I thought I was just a Korean person living here with this family, but actually that's my family, but I have a much bigger family all around the world, actually. So that was a really nice thing to watch. And then my granddaughter actually got married right after that, and they got to attend the wedding. So it was like perfect timing on that, the flower growing, and and that was, yeah, it was very touching, just almost like a miracle in terms of the family reunification. But yeah, still culturally, language, everything, not easy. So a few of the things that I tried to put in place to help with that was their therapist. So I've been working with a child psychologist throughout the abduction, and then he was able to put me in touch with a very good Korean American therapist, child therapist here in San Francisco. So that was essential for them to feel comfortable expressing things any way they wanted, and him having the cultural understanding as well. So that, I think that was super key. I ended up hiring a Korean American nanny, and she helps with childcare and cooking and stuff to make dishes that they were already very familiar with. So I think that helped filling in the sort of the touch that they might have been missing otherwise. And then she actually also happens to be a very skilled teacher, so she teaches them on a daily basis now, like Hanja, which is like the kanji for Korean, the underlying Chinese characters and these kinds of things. So keeping as much connection as we can all the way through with language and culture there. And then amazingly, also super fortunate, the school situation was actually not great, because coming in April of last year was kind of, the end of, it would have been the end of the first grade for my son, which he had just started in Korea because the calendars are different in Asia for the start of the school year. So we wrapped that up and then did a bunch of summer camps and stuff, and which helped them with just socializing and getting reacquainted with American culture and those things. But then the super fortunate part is there is a Korean immersion program at one school in San Francisco, and it's a really good program. And so through whatever luck, there were spaces available that they could start in last fall. And so then my daughter started kindergarten and my son went into second grade there. That was just amazing, because not just the language and culture stuff, but just making a lot of Korean American friends and seeing all kinds of variety of different families, some with two Korean American parents, some with one Korean American parent, some with neither, all kinds of different things. And I could see my kids also at that point kind of, oh, here's language, here's culture, here's nationality. They start understanding those concepts, and they're very curious about a lot of this stuff. They still don't always understand it exactly, but just having that wealth of diversity was really good for them. So very, very grateful that some things miraculously just fell into place to ease the transition. So